What's going on, my people?
What's up with it, my bows? Peoples.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Millennial Man Podcast. Your host here, Derek Chard, always accompanied by my co-host, Bryson Womack. All right, so listen, we're millennial men. We like to have fun. We get into nostalgia. We love nostalgia. We love having fun topics. But we also, we want to talk about real things going on in our millennial man community. And today's going to be one of those days that we're going to address a topic that's real. And that's going to be mental health. That's going to be male suicide rates. That's going to be a lot of things, and we're going to jump into it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to lay some facts, opinions. Bryson, give me your initial thoughts on this topic. Just take it from here. What do you think to start us off?
Yeah, it really feels like it's coming full circle. Obviously, I'm in a position where I don't know how much opportunity we're going to have to sit across from each other with future recordings, because I do have to relocate to Phoenix.
Congratulations, by the way.
The majority part of the rest of this year. But with that, it's kind of refreshing that, individuals that mean a lot in my life kind of coming out and just, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to see you for, 3 or 4 months. I just want to kick it one good time. And I've been able to make some solid rounds. If it was, going up to Lake Lanier and spending time with you and one of my favorite couples up there. And and then lo and behold, ran into my college roommate at a pool party the very next day who I hadn't seen in like 5 or 6 years, and no free ads, but wearing his hat, his company's hat right now. Played in a golf tournament with a fantastic mentor of mine. Gonna spend some time with another mentor of mine next week. Getting to spend some time with you right now, but all that just kind of starts making you think about how much the people in your life mean to you. And, sometimes that's not grasped in full effect in the moment. And actually in the last year, we've, with the help of some friends, have tried to launch some awareness around this, supporting the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. We're starting the Taylor Stirk Memorial Classic, which is going to be a golf tournament that is played at Shasta, which is my alma mater where I played college golf. It'll be November 16th. Website is imminent on launch.
We'll throw it in the description.
It'll definitely pop up. But it's a great opportunity. A very, I think, not say inexpensive or cheap, but one of those price points that's just allowing all individuals to support, not just the big time companies that are writing off their expenses. So it's going to be able to bring out real people who are there for the reason that we want to be there, which is just raising that awareness and not just throwing back liquor drinks and pencil whipping a scorecard so that you can win a little trophy at the end of the day. That's not what it's about. So, all these things kind of full circle with this podcast and me moving and meeting, kind of closing some things out with some people, the golf tournament. It just makes you think the mental awareness is a real thing.
It definitely is. And I think that's great that there's a price point for everyone, because I think a get together or golf tournament like that serves two purposes, right? You're obviously raising funds in memorial to someone who lost their life to suicide. You're raising funds for that cause in general, but having that get together in itself and allowing the people who are the Jims and Joes around, like me and you, to participate, that is mental relief as well, right? Like everybody there is going to have a good time. They're going to talk to their buddies. They're going to have a couple of cocktails. They're going to get away from things, from the work pressures, from this. And so I think it serves two purposes. One is to raise funds and awareness. Well, so I guess 3 purposes. And the third is, in real time, we're helping men's mental health because we're having fun and we're getting away from the stresses of life, and we're just having a good time, and we're chatting, and we are getting, we're getting together. And to be honest, I'm going to put one more on top of this. I think that is part of why this podcast exists. Is I said, you know what I enjoy and what I need is I need to hang out with my peoples or my beaux here and there and just chat about the things that I either don't want to or can't chat about with my wife, my parents, whoever, whether I don't want to burden them or just it's not something they're interested in, but I can talk about it with my guys, right? And it's just sitting and chatting and releasing and having a good time. And so I think it is full circle, and I'm glad we're doing this. And if you're a listener out there, I hope you appreciate this. I hope you're sitting there thinking, yeah, you know what? Sometimes I need to go hang out with my guys. I need to go play a game of darts. I need to go play golf. I need to go hit the basketball court and just whatever it is to mentally reset, increase the cortisol levels or whatever it might be. It all helps.
Yeah. Actually, when, the group of guys that are playing a big role in standing up this charitable event, that was part of the story we wanted to capture when writing the purpose, our mission, our vision. And it really just started with, hey, let's build something that this individual Taylor would have been proud of, a tournament that, brings people together, supports strong mental health, and turns a great day of golf into real impact. And maybe sometimes that's what I think you and I are trying to do right here. As much as we quirk around, joke around, but that's part of it. That is the impact that is subtle, but sometimes just what's needed, not getting down to the brass tacks, just kind of shooting the shit in the breeze and having a good time. Cortisone levels on high.
100%. And I'll take 2 things from that. Yeah, having a good time, but you said something, it's subtle, right? There was years in my life that I was like, we all have good and bad times. And I was like, my good buddies, they never reach out to me. And then I thought about it different. I'm like, well, when's the last time I reached out to them? And so if you're talking about impact that's subtle, just reach out to one of your boys. Like, just reach out and be like, hey man, just checking in. How you doing? You got the wife, the kids, the job. Like, we haven't seen each other in years. Like, how you doing? Everything good? And that's just a small thing that can make a huge impact. And not only for them, but for you. Right back. Because it's like, I want someone to reach out to me. Well, why don't I start it? And then I'll get it in return, right? Give to get.
Yeah.
So, but it's small things.
Hey, it's when you count, what do? You start with 1. So 1 is an impact, but it's now, of course, being a nerd that I am, bringing up numbers. I don't even want to know what the number is, because the point of what I'm trying to say is sometimes we just try to go and fix the overall, I want to change everything at once. Oh, yeah. Exactly. And unfortunately, I think in a topic like this one, where this is ingrained behavior that has been just instilled in us for generation over generation, it's going to take generation over generation to actually make massive impact. So we got to forget about that and just start with one. But I mean, I got to imagine the percentages are scary.
They are. I did some research. Let's start with the positive. So, because you're like, I think starts with one and we can improve. I think it was good. It was from 2020, which was,
Terrible year.
well, for a lot of people, I mean,
I met you.
true. Yeah. I think it's one direction or another, right? Like for some people, 2020 was actually
Home is where you make it.
right, mentally healing, right? For some people.
It's what you make it.
For other people, it destroyed them, right?
Yeah.
Because it just got them out of their cycle or whatever. So it was one or the other. But I will say, a stat I found from 2020 to 2023, mental services spending is up.
Did you ask Jeeves?
I asked Jeeves,
Okay. Just making sure you asked Jeeves.
and he said mental service spending is up 53%. Now, I don't know if that's people spending, companies spending, corporations spending,
Private
but,
sector.
private sector, just overall spending on mental health services is up 53%, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, does that mean that we're actually taking some action, or does that mean that the demand has just gotten so high? Or maybe it's the fact that, because I have heard where we have cut back on the government federal side, but that could be because individuals are creating passion projects in the private sector that has skyrocketed those funds where we can pull back on the federal side. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah. Is it a good thing that people, is it, hey, I'm finally going to take my mental health seriously, so I'm going to spend money on it. We spend money on gym memberships and physical stuff, but like,
So you mean we're not just going to be a man and just deal with it anymore?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to keep it locked up inside because I was locked up literally inside with my wife, and I almost went crazy. No, I'm just, but yeah, maybe I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna dive into some alarming statistics. I did not know this, and that's why I was so excited to do this episode, because I started looking this up, and then I was like, holy cow, I did not know this. So I researched, mental, the percentage of suicides in the United States that are men.
They definitely take the cake.
Well, I didn't even. You're giving some information away, but you're right. Maybe you knew and I didn't know. From 1990, and I only had data to 2023, and I went every 5 years. But yeah, when I first looked it up, it gave men and women. And now this is a percentage of every 100,000 people, so not 100. So we're going to move this decimal places, but
We're going to move it 2 places.
And I could go through each number. I don't think I'm going to. It probably averages around 21%.
Of every 100,000.
So 21 men.
So 0.21%.
Right. So that's 21 men out of every 100,000
Oh, yeah.
commit suicide
Annually?
annually.
So are we talking over the age of 18?
Well, that's all age ranges. They had that as well. Currently, the most affected age range is 25 to 44. The second highest currently is over 44. And the third highest is actually younger than 25. So it's not.
So if
that's
there's...
that have no responsibility, maybe, right yet. It's the men who getting into that group. But here's the thing I just want to say first is we're this is the Millennial Man Podcast. We're going to talk about men, mental health, suicide rate, and prevention, and we're going to get this out there. But I was so surprised to see that the rate for women is maybe an average of 5% of that 100,000, right? So we're 21, women are 5. And
We're 16 more people per 100,000.
which is wild. And until The Sopranos came out with Tony Soprano, and he was like, I don't see it there. They're like, people didn't go seek help. And we're at the we're triple, quadruple women. They go to therapy.
Yeah, we're 80%, they're 20%.
And we don't go, and that's probably why we're quadruple, because we don't go and they go. But I didn't realize that we were quadruple. And I have this, listen, I had from 1990 to 2023, we're quadruple the whole way through. Male suicide.
Man,
That's wild.
we lost a lot of good men out there.
Yeah. Should we go into causes?
Woo!
And I think, because if we're bringing this to light, we're talking about this to our listeners who are millennial men out there. You have jobs, you have a wife, you have kids, you have pressures, you have things going on. I think we have to, talk about why is this happening? Are you feeling these things that have caused these suicides? So let's bring these causes to light so we can address them and think about them and be aware of them. I think we got to go into that.
Okay. Are we talking causes because of your occupation, because of your financial, or I guess your class and wealth? Or are we talking like what?
Well, these are going to be pretty broad, and I think that's why
I think you have to be. I mean, it's all over the place, yeah.
Because we're going to dive into them. I think this is the big thing that we're going to dive in as millennial men and talk about our experiences with these causes and how we navigate them or fail to navigate them. So, looked up the top causes. I have 5, and it also said that it is usually a combination of these 5. So let me just list these out and we can address each one. So the first one, societal expectations.
True.
So I have to provide, I have to have a job, I have to have the societal pressures and expectations. So that's number 1. Number 2, unaddressed symptoms. I didn't look this up, but if you probably look at, hey,
we were told to deal with it.
When you were told that way, yeah, do more women go seek help than men? I mean, I don't even think I have to look that up in Tees. It's going to be, we unaddressed. Like, we're just like, bury it down. We don't talk about this, right? Number 3, kind of goes along with it, reluctance to seek help. Like, nope, I'm good, right? How many times have you talked to your buddy and you're like, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Probably not. 4 coping mechanisms. Listed is alcohol, drugs, different things, right? Like, hey, nope, I need to go see somebody. I'm just gonna have a glass of whiskey and it'll make things better, So 4 coping mechanisms. And the last one, number 5, is relationship breakdowns. And when I was in that one, it was marital breakdowns, but also non-marital. Like, you lose touch with your buddies, right? You got the wife and kids, and that's your focus, and you don't have a friend you can go talk to. You didn't keep in touch because you were just so focused on other things. So those are the 5 causes. Let's break these out. Societal expectations. What does that mean to you, Bryson?
Oh, God. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. I think coming into manhood, it's a little different than coming into womanhood in one aspect of, I feel like I was supposed to develop, become status quo, get some things underneath my feet, because I've got to be able to swoon in a woman with a nice date and all that, and I don't have the money for it. Whereas I think that, they're the most beautiful creatures on earth, where women just kind of, they got everything they need that in the moment of coming into the womanhood life and dating.
Well, I think,
they don't have to establish their self as status quo. They've just, they're going off their vibe and their personality, and sometimes, unfortunately, it is just based on the look. I tell you right now, you could ask 100 men, what's the least a woman has to make for you to date her, and I would venture to say less than 20 of them would actually say a number, and the rest would be like, I don't know, I don't care. Whereas if you ask that to women, I would honestly be shocked if more than 10 of them, I mean, I would say 20 to 30 of them are saying million plus. I would say that another 30 to 40 are, in the hundreds of thousands. You might get a couple that are, just there for the relationship. That we're going to be reasonable around 60 to 90, 110. But, I mean, you might have less than 10 that actually say, I don't care.
Yeah, I think that's big. And you just talking made me think of I have a lawyer friend who's a divorce lawyer, and he said it's definitely over 75%. I don't know. The over 75% of divorces are due to financial reasons, meaning disagreements on you're not making enough money, you're not so. Listen, I don't know who the breadwinner is. I know me as a millennial man, maybe you can think and maybe how you were raised, but I was always told that you got to provide, right? And so that stress right off the bat is a big one.
Man, I wish we could.
I have to provide. I have to be that I got to be the guy. I got to be the guy, whether it's, even if you work a landscaping job, but you own the landscaping company, you got to be the guy. Yeah, or you're working in a financial company. When's the next promotion? Are you the guy there, or are you just the cubicle occupier?
And maybe this is me going on a rant, but kind of makes me want to say, pick our battles, right? And what I mean by that is, are we fighting do we want equal pay more, or the men to keep paying for everything? Because it's if you're expecting the men to pay for the first date, you're expecting, them to kind of be more supportive and be a little bit, more successful on that side of things and really roll out that red carpet, then I hope they make a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do the equal pay, cool, love it. Then, this expectation of rolling out that red carpet, it's just got to go away and go back to just getting to know each other as people. But I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. Here's my advice.
So that is the societal impact.
Well, I'll give advice, because I used to struggle to, and whether my advice is worth anything, but I went through so many of those pressures and feeling those pressures, and decided to become an entrepreneur because I thought that made making a ton of money, which I realized for my first 10 years of trying to be an entrepreneur, it was making little money and working a ton. And what I decided to do in picking my mate was be blatantly upfront and honest. And so I will tell you, and this is real, what I told my now wife when we started dating. I said, you don't want to date me. She said, why? I said, because I'm an entrepreneur. I work too much. I make a lot of money, then I make no money. And I'm up and I'm down. And I said, if you're looking for the corporate guy making $100,000 to $250,000 a year salary, that's putting on a suit every day, stability, I'm not your guy. I hope and I want and I work really hard to make a bunch of money. Not for you, because I just met you, but for me and my future family. But if you want just status quo stability, walk away now. And if you're okay with that, with what I just told you who I am, all right, we can keep talking. She goes, I'm okay with that. I was like, all right, cool. Want a shot? So I think I
feel like I'm in an audition, an application process.
But I feel earlier in my life, I would play up everything and make it seem like, I would build expectations so high, and then I would attract people that wanted just that expectation, not me. They wanted that expectation of success or societal expectation. And then if it ever fell below that, they're disappointed. I'm stressed. And I go into a mental spiral. So I'm like, man, I'm not good. I can't provide the way this person's expecting. But if they're not expecting that, then you can just operate. So it's, that would be my advice on that one to our listeners. And, but it's tough. They exist regardless. Yeah, they exist.
What was there was a funny video once about two men, and it's like hey man, you just want to get married together, and you can stay as late as you want, I can stay as late as I want, you can sleep whenever you want, I can sleep where I want, we can buy a boat, we can get a big house.
I think it was real. Yeah, they get same-sex marriage.
And it's just like,
so like we got married.
Oh yeah, what?
And we are two straight men.
We've pushed the purpose and the need of relationships. Like we were so dynamic, I feel like, in the past because we were so different in what we brought to the table, and we've leveled it out so much, but yet men are so logical, analytical, and process driven, and women are more responsive to the emotional and the things that we just can't even cope. And we've gone away from each other, and it's like, well, why? I don't know how to deal with that one, but I don't need that anymore because everything's equal.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get out this design.
We'll go to the second one, and to wrap this up, I don't actually think that'll ever change. I don't know that we actually want it to change, but I don't think it'll ever change that a question to a man could be, what's your job? What are you making? And it will probably not be to a woman, what's your job? What are you making? Whether it's from a family and a marital situation, whatever, I think that'll always stay the same. So what I'm saying is that's controllable, but we need to learn how to, as men, deal with that, attack it from a mental perspective.
Yeah.
Right? How to approach it, whether we are the garbage man or the CEO, we have to learn how to approach it and still be mentally healthy. So, all right, number 2, unaddressed symptoms. Anxiety, depression.
I can't relate. I'm perfectly sane, so.
Yeah. So, unaddressed symptoms. So that we just let them build.
Hey, some people might look at me and say, yeah, I don't know if his cornbread's cooked all the way through.
Yeah. My grandfather used to say, what did he say? He's a half a bubble off, and he's talking about a level, new level it, and it's a half a bubble. Like he's a little off, or the lights are on, but nobody's home. You ever hear that one? But no, unaddressed symptoms, like we all have this stuff, and guys apparently don't address them. Why do you think that is?
It kind of goes back to
what
we kind of mentioned in society was the deal with it, and I think I'm even a terrible influence on this. Whereas if I'm hanging out with my best friends that have little boys, I'm a little rougher with them, push them around. Oh, come on, suck it up.
Yeah.
But when I'm around those little girls, they melt my heart.
But listen, you're not doing a disservice to those boys because you're preparing them for.
But it also
society. You're preparing.
Yeah, there's also an opportunity to open up and let them feel at an early age that we can get connected, personal, emotional, and we do that all the time with little girls, or I do, and sometimes little boys, you're like, suck it up.
Yeah.
Punch them with the arm, don't rub it. And that's the same thing when it comes to undiagnosed more chemical imbalance, I guess. I don't even know if that's appropriate to say, so don't cancel us. Hell, we don't have enough people to get canceled by anyways. But yeah.
So I think, this is probably proven we can ask Jeeves, but I think, men are more logical brained and women are a little bit more emotional brained. Like, it's
So we're
something that
trying to
will-
cope and overcome it instead
the-
of like focusing and dealing with it.
The reason I say this is because, about a year or so ago, I was like, you know what? I am going to go to a therapist. Signed up, talked to a therapist. And you know what was going on while I was talking? I was sitting there listening to myself talking and going, Jesus, Derek, you can fix that. You just got to do that. Like, it was almost like listening to myself give excuses that I could fix. So I was like, well, this is stupid. I'm just talking, but I'm listening to myself talking, saying, you can do something about that. Just man up and do something.
Yeah, you just needed that time to actually say it out loud and hear how simple it is.
Yeah,
And
like, oh, well, I'm really...
whereas all I ask is, how you hitting your driver lately?
Yeah, yeah.
But
So I didn't continue because I was like, all right, dude, everything you're saying, you know how to fix, and that's the logical brain. But what I'm missing is the emotional side, as probably a male species is. Well, yeah, logically you know how to fix it, but can you?
yeah.
Can you? So, all right, the next one we got, because we kind of put those in, poor coping mechanisms. You just, a glass of whiskey will fix it. It's cheaper than a $90 therapy session.
Listen, I mean, I hear you, but
Cheers to that one.
you're also talking about the same government that decided it was a great idea to throw out like Oxycontin and all these other like medications and things like that. So if it's not just the good old fashioned way with a little bit of Mary Jane that God provided on this fantastic earth and a little bit of whiskey that inbred, ingrown toenail redneck created, then I mean you're about trusting the same thing.
It was primitive people. Volcanic lava hit the rye next to and it fermented and it made alcohol. That's how, dude. Alcohol's been around since the ages. That's a chemical.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're only proving my point more.
Yeah. No.
So, I mean, yeah. The problem is it's not provided to us in a prescription that is maintained at a dosage level. I mean, granted, hell, I don't even know if the drugs are sometimes these days, but you get a bottle of Advil, which I'm not, hell, I don't even take Advil, but you take 2 at a time. Whereas, well, they tell you to only drink 3 beers, in a week or whatever. Well, damn it, you put one in my hand, that 12-pack is going to get deleted real quick.
Well, hey, listen, and so I think this topic is poor coping mechanisms that lead to addiction,
Furthering
versus.
But that's what I'm saying. That's where it
do
starts.
I go to the doctor and get on antidepressants, which.
But that's where it starts because or
do I have a glass of whiskey? So if I would rather put a glass of whiskey in me than go get an antidepressant medication that my body is going to start becoming reliant on, and I will have to take that for the rest of my life, and it'll numb a lot of other stuff versus, this just lets me relax. So that one's a tough one. I see where it can get dangerous if it gets to be too much.
I feel like we should have on the screen that says, warning, we are dumbasses, not professional advice.
No, 100%. Yeah, there's a disclaimer. We are not therapists, licensed, anything. So this is our opinion.
We're just trying.
All right, last one. Relationship breakdowns. I think this is a good one to end on because
Well, yeah.
When I looked it up,
I can punch you in the face. I can't.
sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need to get.
Oh, you can tell when someone hasn't been hit in the mouth.
Well, no. Sometimes you look at your buddy, and sometimes dude,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
just smack me. Like I need a little wake up. Like snap out of it. But let me get to this. When I looked it up, it was relationship breakdowns when it comes to marital relationships and like things like that, right? Like guy goes through a divorce, doesn't know what to do, suicide, right? But there was also, they said, and lack of healthy male relationships, like continuing with them, because everything in their life becomes their job, their wife, their kids, and they lose so much of themselves, and they lose touch with other people to talk to that they don't know, they have nowhere to go.
yeah, no, I think, yeah, we're pretty lucky in that department where we've got some good bows around us, and
Listen, let me put this.
that's important.
If you are a listener, I used to say this. I say this all the time. I'm like, if you don't have 1, 2, 3 people, 3 guys that you could call at 2 a.m. and they'll pick up the phone to help you with whatever you need, start working on that.
Shoot us a DM.
If you don't have that, you have a bunch of acquaintances.
Shoot us a DM. We'll be right there.
You have a bunch of semi-friends. You gotta have a couple ride or dies that you can go to for anything. I think that's big. Men's mental health. You gotta have that.
Yeah, I think this is a great topic, and I think it's one of those things where, yeah, we're not providing answers. We're not the all-knowing individuals on this topic, but I think we're just bringing up the topic and starting the conversation. We might, elaborate on this, but yeah, I mean, if you don't have those few individuals you reach out to, shoot us a DM. I'll answer.
And we'll probably end on this. Another thing I learned: be brave enough to talk about it first. And so I learned this. Sometimes you have some buddies. If I bring this up, he'll judge me. He's not going through this.
I ain't your friend.
And we're all the same. We're all going through it. And so I had one buddy that I was like, I'm gonna say this. He's a good buddy, and he was relieved. He's like, "Man, dude, I'm glad you said it, because I would have never said it to you, because I look up to you and this and that, and the fact that you're going through what I'm going through, like I would have never brought it up to you, but you're bringing it up to me." And I was like, wow, So, you never know. You never know what someone's going through. What they're thinking. Bring it up, talk about it, and because if you don't, never talk about it, bad things can happen, and we don't want that. We got to get 20%, 22% out of every 100,000. We got to get that number down. You got to get that number down big time, in my opinion. And there's ways to help. Bryson's putting on one of them. We're gonna put the link in. Good golf tournament, raise money, and Bryson, I'll send it over to you. Talk about the tournament, please. Talking about why it's happening, and then close us out.
I think we'll definitely have some more opportunity to bring up the event. Like I said, it's going to be November 16th.
November 16th. Okay, plenty of time.
Yeah, Shasta Golf Club. There'll be links tied to our platforms where individuals can sign up or figure out how to.
If you don't play, you can just donate.
I was going to say, figure out how to get involved and support, but I think a good way to go here is, just remember, right? Strength isn't about hiding your struggles. It's about having the courage to face them. Your story matters, your voice matters, and you're never alone in this journey. Keep talking, keep listening, and keep showing up for yourself, for each other. And until next time, take care of your mind, your body, and your heart. Don't forget about you, Bo. Now come here, you big ugly motherfucker, and give me a hug.
Oh no, he's coming for me.
Come give me a hug.